It is time for someone, anyone, doesn't have to be the Academy, but I need for somebody to give André Holland his things. Hey everyone, this is the Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today, I'm coming to you all to discuss a film that I had the chance to see back in January, but now that is officially making its run in the theaters next month, I just figured, let me circle back around for all the people who either didn't see my thoughts on it initially in my wrap-up, or just want to know more about the film prior to its premiere. Well, I, of course, am here to discuss none other than Exhibiting Forgiveness, written and directed by Titus Kaphar, and starring André Holland, Andra Day, Earl Jelks, and Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor. Story-wise, the film is centered around Earl, a black artist who suddenly finds his current path to success suddenly derailed by an unexpected visit from his estranged father, who is now a recovering addict desperate to reconcile. Now facing an uncertain future shadowed by the sins of the past, they find themselves both forced to learn that forgetting might be a far greater challenge than forgiving. All right, so of course I'm going to start with the pros, and honestly, if I really wanted to, we could be here all day, but let me just start with our director. So as I mentioned, this film is written and directed by Titus Kaphar. He is an American contemporary painter whose work does reconfigure and regenerate art history to incorporate and use the African American subject as a focal point. His work is described as multidimensional and sculptural, and a really great example of that is his piece Behind the Myth of Benevolence. And I think what I love so much about his work with this film is that, number one, it's his feature film directorial debut. Has never directed before. He's only been an artist, but man, what a future he has ahead. I know it's probably going to be difficult trying to split between, being a director and being an artist, but what a fusion, what a beautiful and impactful collaboration. And I also love that, as someone who obviously is creative myself, I love the fact that he's incorporating these two very different mediums and just using this very emotionally resonant story to bring them forth. He does all of the pieces you see in this film. Of course, Earl is the main character and he is an artist, but all the work you see is from Titus Kaphar. And they, of course, are highlighting Earl's experiences as a child, the things that he's not 100% past and the things that he just can't bring himself to fully let go of. And I just was so impressed. I mean, just how do you have a film that is your feature directorial debut and assemble this wonderful cast, have these wonderful visuals, not just from the artistic side with the paintings, but also the cinematography and just all of it. I was so impressed, and you already know I'm here for new voices and new filmmakers, especially regarding black voices and black creatives, of course. But even that aside, there's just nothing that's just quite so satisfying as seeing someone with such a visionary eye bring forth something that hits you quite like this, honestly. I just have to say, first and foremost, feel free to check out my review from the film Passing. I did this back in 2021. But in my review for that film, I discussed what a great actor André Holland is and how, of course, as some of the best actors are, I don't think he's been given the visibility and the acclaim and the accolades that he really deserves. But I hope that this film just puts him out there because I just think that he is a top-notch actor, and this is just another example of that. I also was so happy to see Andra Day. We already know she's made her impact in The United States versus Billie Holiday, and a film that is, let's say, not that impactful. Okay, The Deliverance, not saying her performance isn't solid, but what she's required to do in that film, I'm just like, mm-mm. But what was great is that having seen this film back in January, I was like, it's okay, because we already have something in the pipeline, and this character allows her to do something a little bit different. It's not all the angst and anger and cussing and smoking and drinking. You're like, no. This character is one that plays a very significant part in Terrell's life, and I love the fact that she was able, again, to incorporate her skill of acting along with her skill of singing, which, of course, a lot of us were introduced to Andra Day that way with the song Rise Up. But the song in this film, Bricks, I already said it in my wrap-up of Sundance, but if there was ever a song to be nominated for some awards, and I understand most of the time these award shows don't get it right, and regardless of if it gets nominated or not, the film really just, it hits you so hard. But it is such a beautifully written song, a beautifully sung piece, and I just think the significance of it, especially how it ties into the main story, yes. It really did everything it was supposed to do, and I just think every time I think about the lyric from that song, building with bricks that we were never given, it really speaks to how our own lives can be shaped and can move forward with things that we were not given, the things that we needed, the things in childhood or in certain parts of our lives that we truly did need but didn't have. But just knowing that it's possible to build forward, to build up, to actually carve out a life and to make a journey past trauma, pain, loss, abandonment, all the things. And I just think the way that the song does encapsulate all of that, all of that we see as far as Terrell's journey, and just the way that our relationships with family and within our community, how those things can shape us for the better or shape us for the worse. And even when they're shaping us for the better, there are still things we're not acknowledging. There are things we're not seeing. There are things in us that we are not fully like, hey, I have to do something about this. And so ultimately, I just appreciate that this film was highlighting all of that. I also would like to say that Earl Jelks, again, I was not familiar with him as an actor, but his performance, of course, right alongside André Holland, Andra Day, and then Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, it was just like, come on. I'm ready to see more. He really held his own, and he was such a complicated character. He's representing one thing in the future, and then what you see from that character in the past is just like, I get it, but sir, you got some stuff to figure out, and what you have subjected your family to and all that, it was so many complicated emotions. But again, that's something I appreciate. It wasn't just black or white. There were so many shades of gray throughout this film, and that's another thing I appreciate. I also have to say, of course, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, that's been my girl since her performance as Sister Girl in Undercover Brother. And the way she has just gone on to do just so much and has given so many impactful, intense, memorable performances, I can't say enough about her. I mean, Ray, The Help, The Birth of a Nation, If Beale Street Could Talk, The Book of Negroes, The Clark Sisters, First Ladies of Gospel, When They See Us, Lovecraft Country, and King Richard. I mean, the list is endless. That's just but a few of the roles that she has taken on, but this is just another bang-up job. And I am just so appreciative of what this cast brought. I say it all the time, I love an ensemble cast. And I really love how this cast came together to really just make this story, make this film, make this entire narrative just hit in a totally different way. As far as cons, I don't have any real significant cons. I would just say maybe given the story, I would have liked to have seen more from Andra Day's character, Aisha. And mind you, her character definitely has a significant presence in this film, and it's also understated, and I appreciate that. She has this quiet strength, this quiet resilience, but I also would have liked to have seen her more as far as some of these scenes with the other characters and just what her character would have contributed just in key moments. That's not, again, to take away from her performance, but I would have liked even more because I know what a great actress she is, and what we do get of her in this film, she's great, but give me more, give me more, give me more. So I'm going to give Exhibiting Forgiveness an A. I already knew as soon as I saw the picture of André Holland and Andra Day that this was a film I was going to watch at the festival. I'm like, look, I'm already sold. But to then actually watch the film and have this experience, I am just very grateful. And I just think it is another example of a film that does deal with hardship, that does deal with a narrative that some would deem Black trauma, Black struggle, and all those things. But I think we have to learn how to be able to confront those stories and deal with those stories and tell those stories, but changing the lens, changing the perspective, changing the way in which those stories are told. And then, of course, just expanding on those stories. You know what I'm saying? Of course, not just staying in this space, but just knowing that we can still deal with some of those things and change the way in which they're told. It can be, as I said in my review of Sing Sing, you can have exploration and not exploitation. And I think this is another example of that, where it's trying to deal with the emotional complexity and the emotional nuances and the actual catharsis behind the things that we experience, whether they're traumatic or confusing or frustrating and so much more. So I just really credit this film and credit Titus, absolutely. I am so excited to see what else he does. I'm excited for more art, of course, but just seeing what he continues to do, if he chooses to continue on in this field. He talked about what it was like, of course, for him to explore both ends of that, as an artist and then now as a new director. And I just am excited for more. I would love to see what he has coming up next. And I think this is a film, much like the few films, it's been a small number, right? But I'm glad to say that this is another film that I think people should really experience and support. Partly, of course, I support, Black imagery on film, but even outside of that, I just appreciate, again, the narrative, the depth, the story, the performances, all of it. It's something that I'm very grateful to have seen, and I'm very, very excited for everyone else to see as well. Exhibiting Forgiveness will be premiering in theaters October 18th. You guys are free to check it out, leave your thoughts below, and let me know what you think. So, once again, this is D, Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you at the movie.